I'm Littlefoot. This is Sonic Frontiers Boss Battles, and today we ask the question, is that good game design?
I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, I fight this fear. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the cold tide. Always a new horizons.
Okay, so the first boss fight you fight is the ninja, and the ninja's great. I love the ninja. So first of all, this enemy reacts to you. When you attack it, when you start hitting it, it'll shield after a while, and then it will counterattack. This boss is already interacting with that combat system that exists. It also makes it so that you have to be proactive. You can't just turn your brain off and then start hitting this boss and then kill it. You gotta react a little bit or else you're gonna get hit. I really like the dynamic of balancing staying offensive while also staying defensively responsible. The later iterations of this boss get even better as well, in my opinion. But yeah, introductory boss. It does its job well. It teaches you a little bit about, staying defensively responsible, being able to react to what the enemy does. There's an interaction. It's not very cinematic, but it doesn't need to be. It's still a good boss. What if Ninja had a low tape? Anyway, next up is the tower, and the tower, when you encounter the tower for the first time, it like opens this portal in the sky and it descends. It's like this massive thing. The ninja's like really small. It's like basically the same size as you, and this huge tower comes down. Boom, tower. The music starts playing. You're like, oh my gosh, this thing is sick. It's cinema, and then you fight the boss and you kill it in like 15 seconds. So while the ninja, there's a lot of interaction between it and the player, the tower is like you just walk up to it and you just start attacking the base, and then the base breaks down pretty quickly, and then you just hit the head a few times and the head also dies very quickly. This boss does not have a lot of health. This is not a particularly good boss fight. There's basically no interaction. This is like a punching bag that you walk up to and you blow it up. Also, the later iterations of this boss, there's no innovation. There's no innovation. Every single one of these boss fights, it's the tower, excavator, red pillar, silver hammer. All of them play out exactly the same. I'll show you the footage right now. There they go. I'm just hitting the base, bam, 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 and then I'm hitting the head, and it's dead. It's gone. Goodbye. It's got a little bit of cinema, but this thing pretty much uses up all of its aura in the first 5 seconds, and then after that, it's all gone. The Asura is so cool. So once you leave that tutorial area of Kronos Island, they kind of open up the whole island to you. They're like, go explore. And on my first playthrough, I was looking and I was like, there's some cool stuff. What is that? What is that? So I immediately ran towards it, and then boom, the Asura name pops up, and I was like, oh my days, this is a boss fight. This big, intriguing thing on the horizon, it was a boss battle the whole time. I was like, this game is sick. This is the greatest Sonic game that's ever. I threw my hands up. I was like, this is the greatest Sonic game that's ever existed. And then I played the boss, and it's not that good. Asura gets full marks for cinema. Full marks for cinema. This is cinematic peak. This is the best song in the game. This Guardian song is the best Guardian song in the game. But the boss fight is like so the way it plays out is it shoots out these, blue and red circles at you, and the blue circles boost you up, and then the red circles boost you away. Now that's fine. Kind of the qualm I have with this boss fight is that it doesn't work properly. Sometimes it sends you straight up to the arm and you can kill the arm and it's fine, but sometimes it sends you okay, let's say the microphone is the Asura here, right? The problem is sometimes it shoots you and then it goes meow. You go all the way over here. What's over there, buddy? Sometimes also when you're hitting the blue pads, it sends you sideways and then you go the wrong way and then you have to do it again. It's not the worst boss fight, but it just doesn't quite work well enough. I'll talk a lot about, does this boss fight interact and harmonize well with the combat system especially? But the other half of that is, does it harmonize with the normal movement of Sonic? And this one just doesn't really work well with Sonic's movement, and it ends up being more frustrating than it is enjoyable because of that. I love you, sir. I really love you. I do. I promise, but I'm sorry. It's no good. It's no good. Okay, here's a fun one. The squid. First of all, I love the intro to the squid. This one's not cinematic. It's just kind of funny because like you'll be standing somewhere and then it says like squid, you know. It's awesome. That was a great moment. There's kind of a whole genre of boss fights in Sonic Frontiers that they just feel like mini games basically. These are kind of the opposite of something like the ninja fight. The ninja fight is like, hey, this isn't a mini game. This is you're fighting an enemy. You're engaging with the combat system. It's kind of interesting. It's dynamic. The way the squid fight plays out is that you're running along this track, trying to catch up with it. That's Sonic, by the way. And it's shooting these annoying energy balls at you, and you have to like dodge them. First of all, there's no way to like get more rings while you're on this track. So like if you get hit once or twice, you're dead. A lot of times the energy balls, they're coming at you really fast and you don't have a good amount of time to react to them. There is a lack of interaction with a majority of Sonic's moveset here. It's just moving right and left. There's no jumping, there's no there's boosting, but like that's pretty much it. Okay, so after you catch up to the squid, it enters a second phase where it's on the center of this like platform and it's trying to skewer you. And I believe that now it is time for me to bring up the stomp. It's like the most broken move in the game. It does a disproportionate amount of damage for how fast it comes out and how much you can spam it. Also, when you use the stomp, it like freezes the game for some reason, so you can use it even faster. The way that you're supposed to fight the squid here is you're supposed to parry it, but you don't even have to do that. You can just walk up and you can just start stomping it, and it like can't hit you. Okay, the stomp's broken, and it will inform the way that a lot of these fights play out in the future, especially because a lot of these fights are kind of designed to have multiple phases, but you can like one cycle a lot of these fights with the power of the stomp. And honestly, when I first did it, I was like, is this disingenuous? Like, am I cheesing the game? But no, they put it in the game. They knew how much damage it did. They know you can spam it. It's got to be intentional. It's got to be intentional. There's probably an even more effective and efficient way of dealing damage that I don't know about. I just found the easiest, quickest one, and I'm spamming it all day, baby. Moving forward, a lot of these boss fights will be filtered through the stomp. You will see me spamming it in the footage, in the background. I am not sorry. Ooh, now it's time for the first Titan of this game, Giganto. This guy's great. I like this guy. And I love that they have you fight this Titan before the main fight. He shows up and Sonic's like, I can deal with this guy. And then Giganto just owns him. He just grabs him, he throws him against the wall. Okay, so the fight itself, I also think, is rather cinematic as well. First of all, it starts with you having to, like, literally climb up him because he's so big to get the Chaos Emerald on its head. Guy who has played one game with large bosses that you climb up. Oh, this is giving me big Shadow of the Colossus vibes. But, like, come on. Once you get to Chaos Emerald, the boss fight really starts, and it's fun. It's fun. So there's some back and forth here in this fight. Unlike the ninja fight where it shields while you're trying to attack it and then you have to back off before it counterattacks, Giganto will basically become immune and then use an attack that you have to parry. So now you're using that parrying move instead of just backing off, which I think is great too. Again, you're still engaging with the combat system that exists in this game, so points for that as well. Once you get him down to like low health, you get this second phase where he's like using lasers and stuff like that. He's got a mouth laser that he fires at you. You gotta like do some mashing. I think he tries to eat you at some point. You gotta push his mouth open and stuff. So this boss fight's not super deep, but it's fun, I think, for what it is. And again, it's highly cinematic. I think this is the most cinematic of pretty much all of the Titan fights, and the build up to it I think is also really great and really adds to the hype behind the fight. If this guy was just appeared suddenly and they had to fight him, it's like, whatever. But it's like, oh, you have beef with this guy because he grabbed you and he threw you against the wall earlier. Giganto's pretty fun. It's not super frustrating either, which these boss fights can be, so it's pretty good. I like this one as far as the Titan fights go. So the first boss we're talking about, Ares Island, is the Strider. Now this is kind of like Ares Island's version of the Asura. It's tall, it's menacing, it's instantly intriguing. As soon as I hit the island, I was like, what is this big old thing in the distance? And I ran over to it, and then the boss fight started, and I was like, you got me again, Sonic Frontiers, you got me again. This is also very much a mini game fight where you're kind of just circling around these 3 rings around the boss, and it's trying to zap you with this little laser. You gotta make all the rings blue and such. It's cool, it's cute. After you do that, you get to like go into the center thing, kind of like the squid fight where you end up in this central area and it's attacking you. Also, like the squid fight, I just stomped this thing to death. I'm one cycling this Monday through Monday. Nothing it can do about it. This minigame is also fun. It's engaging enough. The fact that you have to both pay attention to, okay, where's that laser going? How do I not hit it? And also, okay, I want to be able to fill out the blue on all 3 of these rings as quick as I can. Is this one good? You know what? I was gonna say that this boss fight is not good, but I changed my mind. I think this fight's pretty good, honestly. It's not the best. I think this might be like the worst good one. Considering that the Asura is almost good, but it's just frustrating because it doesn't work. This one works fine. And the fact that you can like one cycle it pretty easily, I think is fine. It's a huge, big, imposing thing. You run up to it because it's intriguing. You get to fight it. The whole thing blows up after you kill it. I think that's cool. I think there's a worse version of this boss later, and I think that one's bad. But I honestly don't think this one is offensive enough to say it's bad. And there's enough interaction with the game mechanics here. I want to say skin of its teeth, it got in on the good side. If you disagree with me on that one, let me know. If you hate Strider, let me know. There's probably some Strider haters out there. I don't know. I can't lie. Okay, massive glaze incoming. Okay, so first of all, this is a shark that's swimming through the sands. Like, okay, I already got cinema baited, okay? Dune, okay? But a shark, yeah, peak, okay? And then it goes, and then it pops through the sand. So cool. And then it like tries to like attack you and like breach through the sand to try and attack you. So you dodge out of the way, and then you grab onto its tail, and then it starts dragging you across the desert, and it's sick. You know what else is sick about this? It's literally dragging you across the map. If you fall off of this thing, you end up like 10 miles away from where you started. Oh, there's not a whole lot going on mechanically here. Once you grab its tail, you just have to like press like right and left on the control stick and like not fall off. And that's not really particularly engaging. After that, it like flops on the ground, and then you just like wail on it, and then you stomp it to death. You stomp it to death. You stomp everything to death in this game. I don't know. This one is all hype moments in Aura. I can't lie, but it's good. Like, it's really cool. I was like, well, okay, there's not really a lot of interaction between like the combat system in this boss or like the side loop or anything like that. And again, it's basically just a mini game. It's not really interacting with any other game mechanics. But it's like so cool that like I don't care. Like I love this boss. I go out of my way to fight this boss. Anyway, shout out to Shark. The Shark, not a lot going on mechanically, but a lot going on cinematically. And if I didn't call it good game design, then I would be lying, because this boss rocks. Okay, so next up is the tank, and the tank I don't really like as much. This is a boss where it is a mini game style boss where it like shoots you up in the air, and then it's like shooting bullets at you, and you have to like attack it while you're moving through the air. What I really don't like about this boss though is that it completely takes away your controls and changes your controls. So you still have the homing attack, but like movement is weird in the air. It doesn't feel quite right. It changes your controls a lot, and not in a way that's particularly fun, and also not in a way that exists anywhere else. This one just changes it up a little too much, and it's not particularly good. They went too far on the mini game scale, and I don't think they cooked particularly well for this one. But yeah, basically lack of interaction with the combat system, lack of interaction with most of your regular controls, and also not particularly cinematic. Sorry, Tank. I feel kind of bad, but you know what? No, I don't. Get out of here. So next up, we got the sumo, and this one is also very mini game-esque. You're in like this sumo ring, and you gotta like, well, it's more like a wrestling ring, honestly, because you bounce off these ropes, and you want to bounce off the ropes and hit him into these like electric ropes. That's what's going on. The way you do that is you homing attack into them. You have to set up an angle. And this one's cool too because if you just hit the boss directly in the direction you want it to go, it'll knock it back a little bit. But if you bounce off multiple walls before you hit him, you build up more speed and then you have more force and you can hit him even further. So it encourages you to hit trick shots, which is like, it's cool. Even though this one is very mini-gamey. First of all, this mini-game is fun. Some of the like mini-game things they make you play, like with the squid, not particularly enjoyable. But this one is pretty fun in the way that it plays out. Once you've knocked this boss into the wall and it's in a prone position, you can once again homing attack into one of the walls and then attack into it, and then you'll bounce off the boss, and like you'll also bounce off against the walls and you'll do a ton of damage that way, that's pretty cool as well. I really like the balance of mini game to regular Sonic control and combat that they achieved for this particular boss fight. Again, I think a lot of them go too far on the side of the minigame, like with the tank, which is mostly minigame, and then you get to wail on it while it's prone. This one, there's some dynamics as it's like slowly moving towards you to try and knock you into the wall as well. I like the way this one plays out. I think it's fun. I think it's dynamic. Again, there's a lot of interaction between you and the boss. It really feels like a fight, which I think is an important and underrated aspect to a lot of these as well. Good stuff from the Sumo. So the next Titan is the Wyvern. The Wyvern. This guy, there's some cool build up with this boss, I can't lie. You know, Sage shows up and she's like, I'm gonna have this thing kill you, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then he shoots a bunch of missiles at you. I also really like that after that cutscene and that whole missile chase, this thing is just flying in the background, like flying above you for the entire rest of the time you're on the island. That's really cool. The boss fight itself is interesting. Instead of having to like climb up, you know, the boss itself, like with Giganto, this thing you climb up a tower so you're on like the same level as it, and then you jump onto it. After you get on the tower, you have to like do like a squid style run along next to it so you can get onto its back so you can get the Chaos Emerald. The fight itself, I think, it's a little annoying, honestly. It has you flying next to the Wyvern as it's like trying to escape you. It shoots a bunch of missiles at you and you got to parry the missiles back to hit it. But like the way the angle that the missiles come at you is like, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes it's hard to tell when they're close or not. But again, you can just hold the parry button down, so it doesn't really matter at all. But I also don't really like that in the fact that, oh, you just kind of have to like parry this thing and then like wait and then try and catch up to it. The way it plays out is kind of annoying. Similar to the Giganto fight, it has parts where it'll become invincible to fire an attack at you and you have to parry that attack before you get more hits in. I don't know. I did not particularly enjoy this fight. The cinema's there. The cinema is all there. And I think there was clearly a lot of work put into the cinema for this fight as well as that first Titan fight. You know, the boss fight starts before the boss fight starts, if you know what I'm saying. The boss fight begins as soon as you land on the island and it starts attacking you. All of that's build up. All that's part of that experience. And so I think I'm going to give this one good game design. I'm going to say this one's good. But I don't think it's as good as the first Titan fight, and I don't think they get better. I think they get worse from here on out. So. First boss I'll be talking about on the Chaos Island is the Fortress. In my notes I wrote, man, whatever. There's not a lot going on. This feels like the squid fight, but it looks cooler, it has more aura, and it's lame. It is easier though. I will say this fight's easier. This fight has you riding on rails to try and catch up to the fortress. So, you know, the squid one has you on this like track and you have 3 different lanes you can go along. This one is just 5 different rails that you can like switch between, which is like fun. Sometimes the rails come in and out, which that's kind of cool, but it's not engaging with a lot of mechanics. You're just rail grinding. It's not difficult, which you know, at least it's not frustrating, but once you catch up to it, again, you just kind of stomp it to death and it dies. I might prefer this one to the squid fight because I think the squid is more of an annoying fight, but this feels like the squid fight with more aura and less substance. There's just not a lot going on with the fortress fight, which is a shame because when this fight starts, it like teleports to you, and like the music starts dropping bombs on you. Like the intro to this fight, it's really cool, and then you do the fight and you get on the rails and then you kill it pretty quick. So I don't know, I wanted this one to be cooler and it wasn't. It's just not particularly good. Not a lot going on with this fight. Fortress still looks cool though. So the Shinobi is the kind of next level of the ninja type boss. And this one is really cool. This particular boss, though, I don't have a lot to say about. I will have more to say about the next one, of the Master Ninja especially. But this one, the Stomp kind of owns this thing. I think you can kill this thing before it puts the shield up. Or you like can do damage through the shield with Stomp. Unfortunate. I'm basically, this is not a bad one, but the Stomp does own this, and I just kind of killed it with the Stomp when I was playing through, and I was like, there's nothing to engage with there. I will talk more about the other ones. I might cut this whole part out, I don't know. The boss fight that I really want to talk about on Chaos Island is the spider boss fight. I think this boss fight rocks. There's a lot going on. There's like 3 different phases to this fight. So the first fight, the spider's trying to like step on you. It's trying to like crush you with its legs. The way you defeat this boss is you have to side loop around each of its legs. So it'll like try and attack you. You like bait out the attack. You side loop around the leg, and then it dies, and then it'll try and hit you with another one of its legs until you get all 4 of them. There's a lot of interaction between the boss and the player. Then it bounces you up in the air. So after you get bounced up, it starts a second phase, which is this kind of falling minigame where you have to fall through these rings so that you deal damage to it. This falling minigame, it's okay. I'm less harsh on this minigame than I was on the tank minigame, because like the tank minigame, this one completely alters your controls. I think you just have the homing attack, which is the same as in the tank minigame, but this is not the only place in the game that this sort of minigame shows up. There's like challenges where you have to do this, we have to fall through rings. You've practiced this a few times in the game before you get to this boss fight. This one feels like, hey, here's a mechanic we introduced that's outside of Sonic's regular movement earlier in the game, and now we're going to bring it back for this boss fight, and I think it works well. I think this part's fine. Once you've fallen through all the rings, it leads into phase 3, so the boss like loses whatever armor was protecting it, and it's basically prone at this point. But unlike some of these other bosses like the shark or the sumo, when they go prone, they just kind of like lay there, you know. This one is like trying to escape so that it can get that armor back, and then the boss fight would normally reset back to phase 1. This is probably the best boss fight on Chaos Island. First phase I just think is really good. The way that you're trying to bait out attacks from this boss and then using the side loop to damage it, that's a really interesting interaction and a really cool way that it's harmonizing with those tools you've been given. The second phase is a cool minigame, and the last phase is just a more dynamic way to deal damage to the boss. Again, a lot of them, you just kind of wail on them. This one is like trying to get away, and there's just a little extra layer of interaction there that I appreciate. So the next boss fight is the Knight. Now the Knight, design-wise, pretty cool. I don't like it. So the first thing that this thing does is it throws its shield at you or something. What even happens? The way it plays out is that there's a squid, and you follow the squid, and then you're like on the squid path, and then the shield is like chasing you the whole time. And this part of the game is like, it's annoying. This little like mini game area is not fun. I really liked when the Wyvern was chasing you and shooting missiles at you, because it was like a speed section that you had to go through. This is like a speed section, but it like kind of sucks. Like it's kind of buns, I'm not gonna lie. Losing points, you know, we haven't even got to the main part of the fight. Anyway, then you get to the main part of the fight. The arena that it's in is kind of cool. Like you like drain out this lava, and then the Knight's standing there like, you know, and I'm like, okay, that you know, yes, Knight, we see the fit. But then you fight it, and for a lot of the fight, the boss, you're not really fighting the boss. So the boss fight starts, and you can't even like attack the boss. You have to like hit its shield, right? And then it like throws its shield at you, and then you have to like ride on the shield and like come back and hit the boss while there's like a million missiles flying at you. It is so hard to control this shield. Like I was screen sharing to like one of my friends during this, and he was like, "What are you doing, dude? You suck at this." And I'm like, "You don't understand. Like I'm trying to go, and the missiles hit you, and you're like getting blown around everywhere." Feels like those clown cars. You know those clown cars from Super Mario Maker, like Mario World, like Super Mario. That's a crazy reference. That's what it felt like though. Man, it was so annoying. It's so annoying to do this, and you're like required to do this, and then I think you have to do it twice, or at least I think I had to do it twice. And then you can kind of wail on him, and then he has another phase where he's like throwing his shield, and then he's like going around in like circles, right? And you have to parry the shield and then like hit it at an angle so that it hits him. And that part's not particularly fun either. I don't like that. These are like 2 mini games in this boss fight, and the first one just it sucks and it's not fun and it's impossible to control. And then the second one is like fine, but it's like it feels like you kind of got to get lucky and the timing a lot, and that's not great. And then you grab his sword and then you cut him in half, and like I don't know, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, this boss is not good. I don't like this boss. I think the build-up is weaker than the first 2 bosses, so it's not as cinematic. The design, it's cool, but that's about all it's got going for it. The boss fight itself is really annoying. There's a lot of annoying parts to it. It went too heavy on the minigame side, and it didn't let us engage with the combat system enough. You messed up the night, Sega. Sorry, you messed up the night. Stick with Sonic and the Black Knight or whatever. Let's talk about the caterpillar. I don't like the caterpillar. This boss is hard. And it's frustrating. I died a lot to this boss. This boss is actually most similar to the Strider in that you have these like rails that you're going around in a circle, and you have to hit these like balls of energy to fire into the caterpillar. And then after you do that, you can attack it because it's like becomes prone. And it has some attacks that it throws at you, which, okay, its second phase, I don't mind. After you hit all the energy balls and then it's like running away and like shooting lasers at you and stuff like that, I think that's fine. I think that's a-okay. I think that adds a layer of player interaction, and I don't mind that at all. What I mind is the stupid way that the rails part plays out. So first of all, again, if you take damage here, you can only take like 1 hit, and then you're down to like no health, or maybe you get 1 extra hit, right? But there's basically very little room for error. They do some really annoying things with this rail segment. In this one, you have to hit these like balls of energy, which again, easy visual indicator, but some of them are like in between rails. You have to like jump from one rail to another and like time it correctly. But there's also this like laser that's like going around the whole time that you have to avoid. And there's actual like evil balls of energy on the rails, which are annoying. There's so little room for error as well. This boss is pretty strong, so once you take 1 hit, you usually have 0 rings. So like, okay, you get 1 mistake, maybe 2 mistakes, and then that second or third mistake, you're dead. And there's no way to get rings while you're on that loop either. The whole way that this boss plays out is just really annoying. I don't like it. Am I letting my personal biases get in the way of an objective analysis of this caterpillar boss? No, it's bad. It's bad. It's not fun. Lack of interaction with other game mechanics here. They kind of just put you on a rail. Not a whole lot going on. I think this is a bad one. If you think Caterpillar's a good boss fight, tell me in the comments. I will disagree with you, but I don't think anybody thinks this fight is fun. I don't think anybody thinks this one's good. I think I'm in good company. We all tell me in the comments how much you hate Caterpillar boss fight. Go. So next up is the ghost fight, and I think the ghost is kind of the epitome of they took the mini game and they went too far with it, because you don't fight this boss. All you do is you just run through some obstacles while it's like draining your rings from you and trying to hit you, and then you do a side loop around these like pillars that's connected to, and that's how you do damage to it. And then it like dies after you do like 4 of these, you know, little mini obstacle courses. So it's like, it doesn't feel like a boss fight. Like, this is the least boss fight boss ever. There's almost no interaction between you and the boss, other than it's just draining rings from you. The music's cool. I like the music. The music feels fun and chaotic. It feels weird to say that the boss fight is not harmonizing with the game mechanics, because you look at it and you're like, oh, this is the game mechanics. Like, we're doing wall runs, we're doing platforming, we're doing rail grinding. Like, that's what the game is. But like, you're doing that to get to a place to do a side loop to deal damage to the boss, which just feels different from anything that these other bosses have going. There's no combat here. Again, it doesn't feel like a boss, it feels like an obstacle course. And there's obstacle courses all throughout the game. It's like, okay, why is there a boss connected to this one? And what does that boss add? I guess it adds difficulty, but it's not even particularly difficult. This one just feels kind of empty. Feels like it didn't need to be a boss fight, and the boss itself is kind of whatever, so at least the music's good. Next up is the Kunoichi, which is again part of that ninja type boss, and this one I think is great. After I killed the shinobi, I was like, you know what would it look like to fight one of these ninja bosses without using the stomp? You know, like, I'm gonna do a little less damage because I want to see how this plays out. And this boss fight's sick. This thing is like teleporting. It's like shooting lasers at you. One thing that's fun about this boss too is because you're not like on rails and like stuck here, you can use the side loop to generate rings for yourself. So if you are like, you take a hit and you're at 0 rings, you're not necessarily dead. First of all, you can recover your rings, and if you know, are unable to do that, you can use the side loop to get some rings back. But that's also risky because anytime you're not attacking the boss is coming after you. So you kind of got to take the risk of, okay, can I do this side loop and like try and evade its attacks in time to get that health back? At some point I was playing this game so much I started having dreams about fighting these bosses, and I had like this sick dream where I was like Dragon Ball Z style fighting this boss. Like, we were up in the air like throwing punches and stuff. That was pretty cool. Is that affecting my ranking of this boss? Maybe, but I don't know. I also like the variety of approaches that you can take to this boss. You can just like throw hands with this thing, but you can also, if you're good enough, side loop around it, and then that'll stun it, and then you can get a bunch of free hits in. So I was doing that too, and I thought that was really cool. Again, there's a lot of interactions that this boss has with a lot of the mechanics, especially the combat mechanics in this game, and I appreciate all that. I think that makes it a great fight, but I don't think it's the best fight, because I think the best fight is the Master Ninja. The Master Ninja is sick. So this one is cool for a lot of reasons. It's basically just a souped up version of the Kunoichi, which is again a souped up version of the ninja. But this boss actually has enough health that you can stomp it and it's not going to die instantly. So I was like, finally, an opponent I can fight at full power. And I was stomping him, and he was just brushing it off and getting up and swinging back at me again. All the reasons that the last boss fight was good are reasons why this one is good. So the Master Ninja fight, more than any other boss fight in the game, really made me want to push deeper into those combat mechanics that exist in this game. I was like, you know what? I bet I could like parry this boss when it's trying to attack me, and then in that opening that I have, I can side loop it, stun it, do even more damage. Again, I'm allowed to use the stomp because I'm not going to kill it instantly. That's really interesting. So yeah, I was really interested in pushing in deeper, and most of the boss fights, they don't feel like a fight as much as this one does, and they really don't encourage the player to dig in deeper. They get a little too sidetracked on, oh, this is a mini game, or oh, this boss is like just not that interesting in the way it fights back. I think this boss is a great example of the interaction that can exist between players and the bosses. I wish every boss fight was this good. None of them are. This is the best boss fight that we have in the game, but I'm glad that we have one that I feel like is really kind of exceptional, whereas the rest of them are just kind of good, and you know, there's a lot of bad ones too. But anyway, Master Ninja is masterfully done. So next up, we got the Final Titan Supreme, and this guy, he's cool, but there's just not a lot of build-up for him. Actually, when I was replaying the game for this video, I had a hard time like remembering who the last boss for the 5th island was, because I was like, I don't remember any like cutscenes with him or anything. And it's because there's not really any build-up with this boss. He's just kind of, he appears, and then his name appears, and like the design's cool. I'll give him that. He looks freaking epic, but the boss fight itself is kind of lackluster. Now, they didn't lean too far on the mini game side like they did with the knight, where you have to do all this annoying stuff of like driving the shield and like all this, but I don't know, I don't really get this boss fight, and maybe that's my fault, but I also didn't feel like I was forced to learn anything from this fight. I just kind of ran towards this boss and hit him. He has these sort of you know, like turret things that go around them that like shoot out projectiles. But I don't know, I feel like I was just eating through them and then getting the boss and punching him. Sometimes though, when I was punching him, it wasn't doing damage. And this is all knowledge stuff. Like I acknowledge that I have a lack of knowledge on how this boss works. But with all the Guardian fights, you know, first of all, you're fighting them multiple times. And second of all, you kind of have to learn how they work in order to defeat them. But this boss, I feel like I didn't have to learn. I just kind of brute forced my way through it for better, or I think for worse. Honestly, I think for worse. The Supreme boss fight is nowhere near as bad as the actual final boss of this game, the end. You know, Sonic Team, they had, you know, time restraints, budget restraints, you know, whatever. Like, that's what I've heard. When I beat this boss, I remember looking up, like, Sonic Frontier's true final boss, because I was like, there was no way that was it. But it was it. I don't know why they made it a shooter. The game turned into Zero Ranger right at the end there. The final boss is so funny because it doesn't engage with like game mechanics at all. It doesn't engage with the combat system or anything. It is also just a mini game that you play, that you played a few times before, while they like say dialogue at you. I'm thinking about that quote from the director of Sonic Frontiers, you know, like, Sonic, I hear his voice in my head, and we're gonna keep making the game until the game is good, until he says it's good. And I'm like, that's great that you said that, man, but then you made you made this boss fight. I don't know. I'm not gonna harp on it too much. Those who knows, right? Like, this boss fight's not good. You don't need to hear me drag its name through the mud. We all are aware of its shortcomings. So, in conclusion, Sonic Frontiers has a lot of great moments. They have a lot of great individual fights, but there's a lot of mid. Shocker, it's a Sonic game. There's a lot of mid. There is a lot of frustration and just bad game design, I would say. It feels like there is a lot to talk about in this game. I've talked for a long time already about just the boss fights, but just that experience of Sonic Frontiers where you have, you know, these really high highs of like, wow, the Master Ninja was like a pretty cool dynamic boss fight, and like, oh, the shark boss fight was like so cinematic and like so sick. I felt awesome doing that. And then you have like, man, the squid was kind of frustrating, the caterpillar was really frustrating, final boss of the game, like what was that, you know? And is that not the beauty of Sonic Frontiers? I'll probably make another video on Sonic Frontiers. There's again so much to talk about in this game. I'll probably run another one, but that's my list. Here is the full list of which bosses are good and which bosses are bad for your viewing pleasure. I would love to hear about your experiences with this game. What an interesting game. Sonic in the big 26, baby. Alright, I'll see you on the next one.